Hello fellow homesteaders, we are going to make natural do-it-yourself wax melts now. I have a pot on my stove and it's supposed to be just to a simmer, but I used my best burner so I got to a boil pretty quick. I don't think it's going to harm anything, it speeds it up a bit. In my cup I already have placed my coconut oil and my beeswax pastilles. You can get beeswax in a big chunk or in big clumps, but these pastilles are little. So you can see really well here. There'll be a picture in the article. And they are thin, so they melt very quickly. It takes very little heat to melt them. So you put your 1/4 of a cup of your beeswax and your 1/2 a cup of coconut oil as your base in a binder, and you hold it over, not sitting it in your pot. I do not know where my glass measuring cup went, so I'm using the coffee cup. Works as well. Really don't need to stir, but I can't resist, so I tend to do that. I've done some people actually set their cup down in the water, measuring cup. That might work and speed things up. It will definitely save your hands from getting so hot. I'm not sure if just being a coffee cup, not a glass measuring cup, whether it would crack or not. I'll go ahead and sit down there and try. Turn my heat down still. Like I said, this burner is the one I put pasta on because it boils so quickly. Just want it all to melt together. You don't want your whatever you're using to crack, lose your ingredients and have to start all over. Cast iron heats up very quickly, but it usually just takes a couple minutes just to completely melt. And I'm just about there already. I had it sitting on the kitchen counter. I held it over the water for probably 30-40 seconds before I turned the camera on, so you wouldn't just be sitting here watching me stir. Don't need a how-to to sit a cup into something or watch it stir. But after probably a total of 1.5 minutes sitting on there, we have mush. Coconut oil would turn to a liquid just being held over here, but some of the beeswax pastilles still have not quite completely melted. So I'm going to stir a little further. Not hearing or seeing any signs it looks like this is going to crack. Could you put this in the microwave? Yes, I figure you could. I don't think it would hurt anything, but the beeswax is definitely going to melt slower no matter where you put it. And the coconut oil, so you can see the pastilles. Maybe you can see them. Still a little bit of a solid form. Turn my heat back up a smidge. Technical measurement there, but you need to have the beeswax be completely melted before you put in your essential oils. And I'm still working on the melting. So while this is in here and starting to melt, finishing melting, you can gather up your essential oils. You can use whatever flavor scent you want. If you look through the liquid air freshener recipes, you'll see some great mixtures for different scents. Today I'm going to use cinnamon, bergamot, lavender, what do I have here, and eucalyptus. I have peppermint set out, but I don't think I'm going to use that. I think I just have more of the same bottles here. Oh no, I threw in a little bit of a ginger. I think that would smell good. And some patchouli, never could pronounce that quite correctly, oil. Give it that earthy kind of hippie scent. Yes, and leaving your metal spoon on top of your coffee cup, not wise. I think we are about melted here. But it's still not quite good enough. This is taking longer than what it normally does. Apparently I don't have my heat set right. Let's try a little bit of cheating, shall we? We won't tell anybody. Let's put it in the microwave and see what that does for it. Set it for 30 seconds. And we'll see how that does. I'm going to go ahead and take the lids off all of my essential oils while I'm waiting. I don't like to expose them to air any more than what I have to. Lots of people have special brands, or you're on a website and they'll be telling you how wonderful theirs is, better than all the rest, and a link to where you can buy it from because they're representative. And they may love them. They may be really great working brands. I've not noticed a difference. I have bought expensive to cheap ones at the local Walmart, and I have never noticed a difference in either scent or medicinal properties. So it's up to you what you prefer in your budget and what's readily available in your area. This lid does not want to come off. I tend to buy from Puritan's Pride, totally unsolicited recommendation there. Their oils are good quality in my opinion, and their prices are fantastic. Alright, we're closer to being completely melted. Enough that I think we can go ahead. Oh, I don't know. These are definitely not wanting to melt completely. Really thought they would by now. Go ahead and put it back in here for a little bit. I almost had it on here for longer before I turned on the camera, but I've never had it take so long to melt. Best laid plans, I guess, after I bragged on how quickly these little things melt. But it's a very simple process. Once we take it out of the heat, we put in up to 100 drops of our favorite essential oils, and then we'll put them in molds. You could use anything for a mold. Typically, I use ice cube trays. The other day at the Dollar Tree, I saw these. I thought it was perfect timing. They were $1 a piece. It's a flexible plastic with kind of a silicone bottom on here, which makes them easier to get out. You can press on them like that and get your molds out. It's a simple rectangle and a circle. They had all different kinds of cute ones you could pick from, but the cute ones only had maybe a quarter of the amount of these openings. And I prefer to have more openings than cute shaped ones. I figured trying to get the wax melt out of a pineapple or a palm tree shape was going to be more difficult and probably have them break. Yes, we're nearly there. I just need to turn the heat up a little bit. You're supposed to have it on a simmer heat, and I had it on a lower simmer when I adjusted it down because this burner does so quick. And I turned it back up to dang near a boil and got what I needed to get. So now you can see we have a big cup here of liquid. So the next parts are super easy. I'm just going to set it back down on my stove. And I'm going to start putting in my essential oils. 25 drops of one. 100 drops sounds like a lot, but it goes much quicker than what you think when you're standing here shaking over your cup. So I've used the eucalyptus, patchouli, the cinnamon leaf. I want to make sure I get some lavender in here. I like the smell of lavender. And the bergamot. And the essential oils themselves took up very little space in your cup. I doubt that you notice any difference. So now you're going to stir them all up so it combines. Smells pretty right now just as it is. Could you put this in a bottle and make it a spray air freshener? Maybe if you did it very quick while it was hot, because the beeswax will gel. So you just pour it into your openings, just like if you were making ice cubes or fancy ice cubes for a drink or little Kool-Aid ice cubes for your kids. Just fill it to the top. The runoff here, I'm going to dip the molds in just a second and probably get another mold out of the excess that's coming off. You could use a little funnel, maybe the funnel that you use when you're canning. Got every last drop out. Go ahead and give a little tilt, let the excess run. Wow, my kitchen smells nice just for making this, folks. And no toxic ingredients in it all. I have it pretty well leveled out now. There's one that only has a tiny smidge in it. That's okay, and you can see how quickly I'm going to move the beeswax. The ones I took it off the heat source already started to solidify again. Still very hot to the touch. While it's remotely pliable, I'm just going to go ahead and fill up the hole here in the mold. It definitely was not quite full. Now I'm just going to set this aside at room temperature and let it harden. It shouldn't take very long. Could you cheat and put it in the refrigerator? Yes, I don't think. Some people said it reduces the scent. I've put it in the refrigerator before, and I've been making big batches to put in pretty little sachet bags that I made and embroidered to give as gifts, and was doing a bunch at once and need my molds back to do another batch, but I've not noticed any difference. You do not need to put in your refrigerator. Your experience, of course, may vary, but you could just leave it sit at room temperature. Depending on the time of the year, you might need to take it to your garage or your basement if you're making these in the late spring or the summer, and you just let them harden, and then you will pop them out, and you can use them as you would store-bought wax melts. I did this video first in this article. Well, it's actually last in the article, but I did it first when I started making videos for the article. I'm hoping by the end they'll be hard enough I can pop them out and show you what they look like. We'll go ahead and do another little look here at the molds. We get 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15 molds. It took us, counting the time that I was messing with trying to get the wax to melt, maybe 5, 6 minutes to do the whole thing. And we might have $1 in all these molds. Depending on where you buy your wax melts, that's a really good bargain. And even if it's not as good of a bargain, you're still not putting any toxics or volatile organic compounds in your home. Well, again, folks, I just took my molds out, my homemade wax melts here, and you can see they gelled rather quickly. I did put them in the refrigerator so they would be done in time to show you guys. It's 70-some degrees today. I was afraid they wouldn't dry in time, but they're nice and dry, and it's been maybe half an hour since I made them, and I wanted to see how they turned out. My countertop here is a little damp from all my mixing up of these natural air fresheners, so let's clean it up a little bit. Okay, it's more damp than what I thought. I do not want to ruin them right when I take them out. That should work. Okay, so let's give it a shot here. Just want to give it a little twist. Hopefully they come out as easily as I claimed, and it did. Repeatedly. I love when they came out in the exact shape. I don't think I would have had this much luck had I used the decorative ice cube trays that I saw with palm trees. Let's move it out of here a little bit. The silicone bottom makes a big difference. I probably would have had a bit more difficulty getting them out in a state where they weren't broken at all if I would have used the ice cube trays that were just regular plastic ice cube trays that I picked up with the hard bottom. They were $2, these were $1, and I thought these shapes were more attractive for wax melts and would be easier to get out. Go ahead and put some in my hands here. But here you go, natural homemade wax melts. From start to finish, it was about a half an hour project. That includes the time it took them to gel. To make them only took a few minutes. And if you cheat and put them in the microwave to melt your beeswax pastilles, and you cheat and put them in the refrigerator, it'll probably be a 15-minute project.